Listen up, you gamblers. This is the video for you, so pay attention.
Welcome to Full Court Press. This is where we ask the pressing questions going around the NBA. Me, Charlie, and Fatme are back at it once again with another divisional video, baby. Over and under. We're going to look at the projected wins for teams this season in the Northwest Division. Reigning champion, Denver Nuggets to start it off. Their over and under is 52.5 wins this season. And the Nuggets last year, they got just over it at 53. They have a team that can go back to back. They're the best team in the West, team wise. This is very tough because the West is a tough conference.
Got a lot better.
Got a lot better. They barely made it over that last year. Personally, I'm gonna take the under.
There it is.
I don't think it's gonna be much.
Praying on the Nuggets downfall again, dude.
I don't hate the
Like I said
Nuggets.
last year, dude.
No.
Not a fan.
No.
Not a fan.
I don't hate the Nuggets, but 52.5. They only got 53 last year,
No,
and
it's
arguably a weaker conference. I'm gonna take the under. The Nuggets essentially have the same team. They did lose Jeff Green and Bruce Brown, but as long as their team basketball doesn't really change, not much is really going to change about anything, really, about the Nuggets. Jokic is still going to be the guy running the show. You got Aaron Gordon defending players. Michael Porter Jr. is still not going to pass the ball.
Rock stops there.
The Rock stops here. So I'm thinking the Nuggets will get around 50, 51. I hope they get over, but I'm going to stick with the under on this one.
I will go with the over. Me personally, I think the Nuggets could end up being a dynasty, so just having a little fun with it.
Video up there for can the Nuggets be a dynasty?
And they did lose only Bruce Brown and Jeff Green. Very important pieces, don't get me wrong. Bruce Brown was huge for them. Jeff Green's always a solid vet to have around. Their bench is looking pretty rough, if I'm being honest. They're relying on a lot of sophomores and rookies for this season. So, like, they're expecting Christian Braun to step up, Peyton Watson to step up. Their rookie that they drafted this year, Julian Strother, he's looked really good in preseason as a potential, like, off-the-bench scorer. So I'm excited to see how that goes. Last season, Jamal Murray had a pretty rough start to the season, so it's kind of just getting used to it for him again. So I think that is a bit of a reason why the Nuggets were around only 53 wins. So with all that being said, they just came off one of the most dominant runs I've seen to a chip in a while. So 52.5 seems pretty easy in my opinion for them.
I am hitting the over. You know what I mean? I'm a Nuggets guy. I'm not a fan of the losses they suffered. I like Bruce Brown, big piece. Jeff Green plays good minutes. I'm hoping Christian Brown can kind of fill in Bruce Brown's role. We'll see. It's not. We can't expect a whole lot. There's been glimpses, but we don't know really what we're gonna get out of him.
True.
The bench is a little rough right now, but you still got Reggie Jackson, Justin Holiday, and we'll see how many minutes, if any, DeAndre Jordan gets. But they're still vets, and vets are important. I just think the thing about this team that keeps them always up there, one is chemistry, but I feel like they're also coached very well. Mike Malone definitely seems like he knows what he's doing, and he's talked a lot of shit over the offseason.
He definitely has.
It's time to fucking back it up. So let's go hit the fucking over, dude. Let's hit the over.
I like that, especially with the coaching thing. I have mentioned before that I feel like they play Spurs basketball.
Yeah.
And they're going to keep playing that way. So, but moving on to a rising team in the Northwest Division. This team arguably gave the Nuggets some of the biggest problems in the playoffs. And I'm talking about Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Minnesota Timberwolves betting odds are at 44.5 games this season. I'm personally going to take the over on that. And the reason why, well, I think Ant's going to have a breakout season. Link to that video up there. this season, because he's been getting hyped up a lot in the offseason with Team USA and everything, if he doesn't go out and have a great year, an all-NBA level kind of year, then I think people are definitely going to get on him about it, and they might start hating on him instead of putting him into those higher rankings, the top 15, top 10 discussions. So I think a lot's going to be riding on Ant this year. What they do with Cat and Rudy Gobert is really up in the air. Cat's situation, he may not be there for the entire year. Who knows? But they have a lot of young pieces. Jaden McDaniels?
Yes.
Jaden McDaniels, he's also a rising piece. He didn't play in that Nuggets series, I don't think.
No, he punched a wall.
Yeah.
Punched a wall right before.
Yeah, so he could have arguably made that series.
It would have made a difference.
Yeah, it would have made it even harder for the Nuggets. Maybe even would have got them another win or so. But they have some really nice pieces. Naz Reid, he's another great piece on that Timberwolves team. There's a lot of young guys that are also, they have that team chemistry, I feel like.
Yeah,
and
they've
then
been together for a little bit now.
Yeah, and then
Some of them.
right, and then Ant's leading the way. I think it's his time to really take the reins on this entire team and really bring them up to that next level of top teams in the West. I'm taking the over.
44.5 is an interesting number. I feel like they're going to be in like that area where the area of the West where it's just like all fighting for the play-in / 6th seed, like that area.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that area is all going to be around that amount of wins. I'm going to take the under, the very slight under, probably around like 43 wins for that team, maybe even 44. But, I mean, they did do good despite Cat being out for, I think, 50 games maybe. He was out for a long time.
Hurt my fantasy team.
Okay. He was out for quite a bit. The start of their season was pretty rough. They had to figure out how to fit Gobert and Cat. It seems like they're probably gonna have to figure out how to do that this season too, with Cat missing so much time. I do like that they got Mike Conley. Once they got Mike Conley, things seemed to start flowing a little better than it was with D'Lo. Jaden McDaniels is really nice. He's an elite defender. We've seen a little bit of shot creation on his own. He looks like he could be a pretty solid scorer, so I'm excited to see where he goes with that. But I just don't think like the combination of Cat and Gobert is going to be that great, because like Cat can't defend fours at all. He's way too slow to do that. He's not a good defender in general, so he's going to be out on the perimeter. And you have like fours like, you're going to have people playing the four like Kevin Durant, even Aaron Gordon, like all these people that are like smaller and faster than him. And he's not going to be able to keep up with that. And then Gobert can't be the one on the perimeter because he's got to be the one in the paint. It's just an awkward defensive duo, in my opinion. And even on offense, Cat kind of has to stay on the perimeter because Rudy Gobert, he can't be the one on the perimeter. He has no perimeter game unless he brings out that three-point shot that he's been working on.
Oh, God.
It's not going to happen, but I just feel like their fit is too weird, and it's going to like cause some problems that they're still going to have to figure out to the point where they're not going to be over 44.5 wins.
Fair points are being made. Any team, I'm a big fan of Mike Conley. Any team that has Mike Conley, I can always see winning. But this team, I'm going to take the under just because we haven't seen it out of them yet. We haven't seen everything come together yet with that. This could be the season. This could be the season everything comes together. I could see this team being up there, like contending. But I'm still going to take the under just because I haven't seen much from anybody except Anthony Edwards really on this team, like going to the next level. There's a lot to figure out between Gobert and Towns. I mean, they got other good players too, role players. Kyle Anderson's a great role player. Nickeil Alexander-Walker plays good minutes, and then Jaden McDaniels too. They got a good team. I can see this team making noise. Since I haven't seen it yet, I'm still gonna have to take the under.
Fair points all around. All right, moving on to another up-and-coming team in this division. A team that's going to create a lot of controversy on this channel, and it already has.
The most up-and-coming team in the NBA.
There's a one person, him.
Yeah, because of me. That's why they're up-and-coming.
No,
No.
that's why there's
That's why they're
controversy.
being hated on them. Yeah, come on.
Man, if you saw our last video, we even said that we are this team, and I had to say it too.
Remember, Shea, Chet, Giddy.
Giddy up.
With that being said, the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Over.
Over.
The betting odds for the Oklahoma City
They don't
Thunder
matter. Over.
are 44.5 games. Exact same as the Timberwolves. And to keep up with my generational hater status, I'm taking the under. And it's going to be 44 wins. Just so they'll have the under. Yeah, there's a lot to like about this team. I just don't like it just because of personal reasons.
Instagram comments.
Yeah, that's right. They try to call Giddy, Shea, and Chet a big three right after Chet was drafted with nothing. So
They
yes,
saw the future.
I'm upset. They will take the under on this one. Shea's going to be Shea. He's top 10 in the rankings.
Yeah, he is.
Chet, Wemby's owning you. I don't care. You ain't winning Rookie of the Year either. Giddy up, man. I don't know what to say.
Top tier analysis.
Cut your hair, I guess. I don't know.
Whoa, that's a trademark right there.
Yeah. That's what makes him him, dude.
I'm not going to dive into analysis. This is just pure hatred. So, under on the Thunder. Oh, that even rhymed. Look at me.
See, there's no analysis on this because he knows he's wrong. It's just pure hatred. He knows he's wrong. He sees the vision. He just doesn't want to admit it.
It's not happening.
It is. Anyways, over. I think I forgot which video, but I made a bold prediction that the Thunder were winning 50 games this season. We are standing on business.
Yes, sir.
50 games this season. Smash the over. Anyways, I have an article coming out on the Thunder. It's about how, similar to how the Memphis Grizzlies shot from the play-in to the 2 seed. I think the Thunder could do something pretty similar. It's coming out soon. It might be released by the time this video drops. We'll see. But I really like this team. Shea is phenomenal. He's just an insane scorer, whether it's he's one of the best paint scorers, mid-range scorers. His three is solid. It doesn't really seem like many people can guard him out there. I remember it was either last season or the season before. He had like one of the highest double team percentages on him. Still getting buckets out there despite that. And this is all without a team that doesn't have that much spacing either. Aside from like Lou Dort and J-Dub, who's solid, and Isaiah Joe, their spacing's a bit iffy, and he's still able to get to his spots and knock down shots like that. And then last year they had no center. Like they were rotating centers, bench centers between like Jalen Williams and Jeremiah Robinson Earl. And they still made the play-in with 40 wins. You add in the second overall pick, Chet Holmgren, who's a lob threat, can shoot, an actual pick and roll partner for Shea and Josh Giddey to help elevate their playmaking. And you have an actual anchor on defense in the paint. That kind of helps you a lot. Like their defense was already pretty good last season, especially from the perimeter. Now you add in an actual threat on the interior for defense. Their defense could end up being top 10 next season, realistically. And then J-Dub he can guard most of the positions. I think you had one of the most variety positions guarded 1 through 5 last season. Every single month, his points per game, rebounds per game, assists per game, and his efficiency was increasing. He's getting better by the month. It's getting scary out there. And now Josh Giddey's playmaking is going to be elevated even more now with the addition of Chet and just another scorer in general. It's scary times. 50 wins coming. I don't know what he's talking about.
It's pretty obvious. Every video on this channel is pretty much me saying good things about the Thunder. There is literally nothing not to like about this team. Except they do lack a veteran presence. The literal only guy over 30 on this team is actually Victor Oladipo, which I love to have a guy like that around. He might not play at all, but he's been at the top, he's been at the bottom. He has a lot of experiences in this league. he can show these guys. But this has got to be the youngest team in the NBA, dude. The amount of dudes they have under 24 is insane.
I think it might be the Rockets.
The Rockets?
Oh, actually,
They
maybe not anymore.
Just looking at
They're
this
close.
team, like, I just see 20 to 24. Like, the age is insane. And that can also be a concern for a team like this. They don't have a lot of, 40 wins is 40 wins, but they made the play-in. They don't have a lot of playoff experience to get there. But these guys are hungry. That's one thing that I always take greatly into consideration is guys who have never really, they haven't been around long are always hungrier than guys who have been. All of these guys I can tell want to win and get to the playoffs. It's just everybody here, everybody on this roster has something to prove, and that's always important to have on a team. SGA is out. I think he's top 10 too. He's all NBA, could be top 5. Up to people to debate, but the starting 5 is it's young, it's good, they're hungry. I'm with Fatmir. 50 wins. I like it. They're hitting the over, dude.
I just want to add on to that. Shea got mentored by CP3 when
No.
CP3 was in OKC. So even though they don't really have that veteran presence, Shea kind of
It
holds.
was there, yeah.
Shea kind of holds himself as that veteran presence. He's a great leader, and they already play so poised despite being a young team. Their coach has them locked down. That they themselves aren't there's no funny business with that team. It's straight basketball, buckets, and dubs.
And one last dude I want to point out, Poku. Alexei Pokucheski. I can never pronounce his name, but I've always just the few clips you see of that guy, he's something, dude. He's a
Bad
unicorn.
talk.
He's
That's
a
bad
He's
talk.
a unicorn, dude. I like his game, dude. I like his name. I like his game. He can make a difference.
Bars. All right, moving on from the Thunder.
Can we go back to the Thunder, please?
No, we cannot go back to the Thunder. We need to keep this video going.
This next team is on.
This next team,
let's
team.
Let's just change it to a full-on OKC video.
we can do that another day. But this team is going to create just as much controversy on this
A
channel.
little less up and down, but I'm still high on this team too.
Yeah, so the Utah Jazz are projected to get 35.5 wins
Over.
this season.
Guess the reason why it's controversial. Him again.
If you want to know why it's controversial, just go check out this Laurie Markkinen video that we made beforehand. This is tough because I want to hate on the Jazz. I really do. And I don't want to see...
Low number, dude.
It is kind of low, but they only got 37 wins last year.
I would say the roster, literally by the lone addition of, I don't even think John Collins, I'm sorry to just take your turn, but
No worries.
the
No.
lone addition of John Collins isn't that great, but I still think the team got better.
Alright.
Maybe we need to move you out the middle again.
Wow.
I just had a lot to say about the Jazz. We'll get there.
The shots are being fired at me today. Boy, if you're not sticking around for this, you gotta like the video just for this. Just for me getting shit on. I think that's like-worthy. Subscribe even. I mean, you're not gonna find a more entertaining trio than us right here. We're not scared to go at each other. And they're not scared to go at me, clearly. But I can take it. And with the Jazz, man. This is just like
A+ analysis right now, dude.
it's not
two top tier analysis in a row from everybody.
it's not because of anything. It's man, I'll take the over. I'll take the over.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't think it's gonna be by much again, if they even get over. Walker Kessler didn't really start much of last year, and I think that he's gonna be a great defensive piece for them. They drafted Keontae George. I think Mike Conley used to be on the Jazz. He's going to fill in that kind of facilitator role for them, in my opinion, once he gets to that starting spot. Him, Laurie, and Walker Kessler, I think they're going to have a nice pick and roll game. Laurie's Laurie. I don't think his numbers are going to be as great as they were last year, but he also I feel like he had to do a lot more with somewhat a little bit less last year, so I think he can take a step back and let some of these other guys come in and carry some of the offensive production on that team. They got John Collins. The John Collins effect is here. Either way, I think the Jazz will slightly get over. Their team is also a kind of a Spurs-like basketball kind of team. They'll move the rock around. They're not selfish. They play team basketball, to say the least. The most selfish person on that team is probably Jordan Clarkson. He's going to shoot that ball, but that's what they want him to do. That's what he's there for, to hit threes. So yeah, I think I think the Jazz have a nice team.
Thunder on his head, dude. Yeah. In his head.
Rent
free.
So yeah, I'm taking the over on the Jazz, but I don't think it's going to be by much. It's going to be very close.
It was 35.5, right?
Yes.
I love the Jazz. I'm still taking the under. The only reason why I'm taking the under is because I feel like they're not going to try as hard as they did last season. Last season, they started off like as the 1 seed and were kind of maintaining it for a little bit. And so they wanted to see how far like they could actually go with it. And then once they started losing, that's when they started benching their guys and stuff like that. I think this season they're more committed to actually like being one of the lower teams than they were last season. That's basically the only reason why I'm taking the under. I think their team's really talented overall, but I think they just would rather kind of like build up an actual younger team than just keep going at it the way it is. Keontae George has looked amazing in Summer League, and I'm not sure if he played a preseason game. I think he might have, but regardless, he hasn't looked bad at all. He's looked really good. Coming out of college, he wasn't really known for his facilitating role, but during preseason, it did look a lot better than what people were expecting. So if he does end up being the point guard for the team, I'm interested to see how that will work out. Other than that, like they're facilitating now that Mike Conley's gone. It's kind of iffy. Their point guard role is kind of iffy. It's open between like Colin Sexton, Chris Dunn, and Keontae George. They had some interesting pickups overall with John Collins. It's going to be kind of weird to see how that fits, but why not take a chance on him? Walker Kessler is very good. His defense was insane last year, especially for a rookie. People could have argued he could have been Rookie of the Year last season, that's how good he was. He'll probably end up starting this season. If he doesn't, that's a complete crime, because why would he not be starting at this point? I've seen him. They experimented with him shooting threes a little bit towards the end of the season last year. I need to see more of that because the shot form doesn't look bad. He hit a couple. Need more of that. I think this year they should just full on experiment with their team, see what they get, see what they have, and trade away what they don't need, trade away what they don't want or what isn't working, and then next year come in and actually try. So I'm gonna take the under.
Those are fair points. They're fair points. I'm not in agreement this time. I'm taking the over. I think they won more games last year. Losing Mike Conley is gonna affect their playmaking, but I think they can work around that. And I also really don't think you bring in a John. I'm not saying John Collins is a difference maker. He makes a difference, but I just don't really think you bring in a John Collins type player to go into a season looking to not compete. They still have. If you get the same production out of Laurie, you have a star. And then you have two good, like, secondary and tertiary players in Collins and Clarkson. You really got to expect more out of Sexton. Sexton's going to have a big jump up in his play this year. But then, he had a resurgence from Chris Dunn. I expect more out of Walker Kessler. I like the guys that drafted. This team isn't as young and on the come up as the Thunder per se, but I still see this team. I see them hitting the over. I see them being competitive. They're probably not going to make noise in the playoffs if they make the play-in, but I still see them definitely trying to compete with the roster they have right now. So, over.
All right. Moving on to the final team in the Northwest Division. This team just traded away Damian Lillard, but they had the 3rd overall draft pick, his replacement, Scoot Henderson, the Portland Trailblazers. The Portland Trailblazers have the worst projected wins in the entire Western Conference. Their projected wins are 28.5 wins for this season. And I honestly don't think that they even have like one of the worst rosters
They
in
really
the
don't.
West,
They really don't.
and they have the worst projected. I think they didn't know what Portland would get in return for Dame, so they just really lowered the expectations for them. I want to say that they'll get over, but I'm going to go with the under on the Portland Trailblazers because some teams just have to be bad. And I think the Portland Trailblazers are going to be one of those teams. They just have to be bad this year. They know that they're rebuilding. They got some great pieces in that Damian Lillard trade and Drew Holiday. They got Robert Williams, DeAndre Ayton, Malcolm Brogdon, which they are probably still looking to move. They have a great young backcourt in Anthony Simons and Scoot Henderson, and then you got your small forward and Shaedon Sharp.
Might be six man, might be small forward. We'll see when the season goes around.
Yeah, so they have a young core, one of the most athletic teams out there. I'm still standing on that. If there's anything I'm going to stand on, it's the fact that they're the most athletic team. Scoot Henderson, Anthony Simons, Shaedon Sharp, Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton, Rob Williams. They're going to be throwing lobs. They're going to be jumping out the gym. That's for sure. I'm excited to watch them play this season. Not as a standpoint of watch them win, but just to see like what these young guys can do. But I'll unfortunately have to take the under on the Trailblazers.
I'm also going to take the under on the Trailblazers. I like what they're building a lot. Anthony Simons is going to break out this year. He's going to show that everyone that he's going to be a star in this league. I'm predicting that. Link to the video right there. So I'm excited to see him actually hoop. He's been going crazy in the limited minutes he's had in preseason. Scoot Henderson, he's looking nice. I think we talked about it in the trade video, how I think that him and Ayton's actually gonna be a really nice pick and roll duo, with Scoot being the one that's actually driving because his finishing and his athleticism is insane, and Ayton can just like pop out to the mid range like he's always done and hit his shot because he's pretty much automatic from there. I really like the Ayton pickup a lot. They did a couple weird things this offseason. Like they released Trendon Watford for whatever reason. He looked really nice when they were actually like playing just their bench. He looked like a really nice bright spot for them in the future, and they just cut him for whatever reason. It was odd, especially with how young he is. They gave Jeremy Grant a bag, like a bag. That contract is insanely high.
Is he making $40 million? I think
Somewhere around that. It's somewhere around that.
27.
They gave him a bag. I think it was like 150 million for like 4 years or something.
Yeah, that's just under 40. Anyways.
Yeah, so that was an extremely weird move.
160. Yeah.
And I was close enough.
Still a bag.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Still 27.
they don't have a reason to be good. Just let the young guys rock. Let them have their fun. Have a slam dunk contest every night. Let the fans enjoy watching that. I'm excited for Shaedon Sharp, DeAndre Ayton, Anthony Simons, and Scoot Henderson, but under. No reason to try.
Yeah, these dudes hit it right on the head of the nail, dude. Under. Just like he said about what he thought about the Jazz, like a team they don't have the intention to compete. There's no reason for this team to. They're not on the level of the Jazz. They have good players. I love the trades they made. They have a really good future set up. It's just not happening this season. These dudes pretty much said everything I was going to say on here.
All right, that will wrap up the Northwest Division for you guys today. If you guys were entertained by what has gone on in this video, leave a like. Dunk on that like button. Show your support for the Full Court Press family, baby. And subscribe as well, because you want to tune in every week when we make a video. We are ready for the NBA season. We've told you before, and I'm going to say it again. We know ball. We've played ball. This is what we do. We're known for predictions. We've hit quite a few in the past, and we're going to keep hitting more and more. So hit that subscribe button. Until next time, peace.